taken from the lands of Ham, but I am Shem. Stolen from the halls of Africa, I am Israel. Taken from the lands of Ham, but I am Shem. Stolen from the
All praise, all honor to the Most High Yah. Hallelujah. We give thanks for this opportunity to be here, and we give thanks for the music. And I want to give thanks for each of you for taking out the time to share the vibes with us today. Yah bless.
Give thanks, sister. Blessings to you too. Give thanks for having us.
Please.
This is Queen Makedah here with Zion I Kings, in case you're just dropping in on the live stream or in the Zoom room. And this is our first Roots and Culture Nights with Queen Makedah, special guest. And it was just right on time and appropriate to start it off with the brethren who helped make I Am Shem come to the forefront. And so will you take a moment and let's introduce yourselves, and just, we want to get into the interview and talk about who you are and what you do.
All right, greetings. I'm Tippy from I Grade Records in St. Croix.
Thanks.
Blessing.
Tippy.
Moon Bane here. Luster Kings Productions, Zion I Kings.
Bless. Welcome.
Ja David, Zion I Kings, Zion High Production.
Give thanks.
Bless. Give thanks for the moment. You know?
How did you brethren come together? How did you meet and start working together? And what are your instruments? From what I've learned about you, I know you all are multi-instrumentalists, right? As producers, but what is your instrument?
Moon, you answer that first question.
Typically,
from Long.
yeah, typically.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
I am the guitarist. Tippy is the keys. Jadi is the bass, and we've worked a lot with Junior Richards on the drums, but we work with many different drummers as well. In a very general term, but Tippy is a mean guitarist that plays guitar all the time. Jadi play guitar. I play some keys. We all do some programming, drum programming. So we all do play all different instruments, really and truly. But when we get in the studio and we write together, typically always Jadi is on bass. I play guitar, Tippy plays keys when we're writing.
So how did you get together? How did you start working together?
Yeah, well, Moon knew Jadi from early, right? From high school days, the college days?
More like college-ish.
College-ish.
Providence, Rhode Island.
In college, out of college times, yes.
Yeah, and then Moon's a little older than I, and I probably should have been in college. I think Moon was like just getting out.
Yeah, it was just healing up that.
Yeah, Jadi's the baby of the crew, if you didn't know.
He's the young man. But the years, the gap keeps getting shorter and shorter the more years that pass. So it's like,
yeah, that's right.
It used to seem bigger when we were younger, but now it's like unreal.
Exactly.
But the start of us, let me jump in there. The start of us working together as a unit came probably about 10 years ago. I think it was 2011. We had our first session.
No. 2006. Six.
Serious, bro?
Six.
Yes, man.
6. Hear me good. 2006.
Okay, so
for
let
sure
me stop acting like I know then. But it was some years
So
ago.
that's 15 years. 15 years.
Yes, sir.
You're right. You're
And,
right.
and we were
because-
working together before that. We were working together. I went over to My Heaven State with someone. I can't remember.
It's
who.
really tippy.
Let me
Check it.
step in.
Check
No,
it.
let me
Luton
step
Fire.
in.
Luton Fire. Time and Place album. Did
Right.
release 2005.
Yeah.
And them
check
times,
this.
the whole issue it did unite us with Fire and the Bond.
Right.
Them times.
And that's what in the same thing happened with me and Russ Attitude, because I
Right.
was working with Russ Attitude in 2004.
We
And
had
he
all of
said-
the three.
Exactly. He said, yo, I have this one song I want to include on the album that my brethren produced, Tippy, and I'd already heard of Tippy, and Moon already knew Tippy. But then Tippy and I linked from that time. That was like
That's right.
2004.
All right.
So it was
So-
we was all
Twenty-
kind of
no.
linking, you know.
And
15
so,
years strong.
Yes.
wow.
Longer, though.
So
Even
at
longer.
some point, so you were collaborating and then you decided, you know what, this is family. Let's keep this going, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yes.
What happened was Tippy brought Moon and I down to St. Croix to do like a week of sessions, and that was the catalyst. And
Yeah.
after that, we just kept moving forward. So it's really like 15 years or so.
Wow. That's crazy.
I never stopped from there. And
Wow,
Yeah.
thanks. So did you find that in your collaboration, like, is that how your sound sort of grew out of that? You know, because you have a very unique sound and it's different from anything else. So, you know, was that just organically, you know, grew out of that?
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say.
I didn't
For
know
real.
we had one sound.
Still growing. It's still growing though. It's still growing. Real talk.
Well,
Secret
I mean,
I feel like we have three sounds in one, and that's the power of what we deal with, which is even more than three, because you know we work with Drew Keys for years, and he has his own sound as well. But Teflon as well in Jamaica, we work with him, and he has his own sound. We're like a conglomerate, like when the different members of the elements come together and form something that's greater than the sum of the parts, if you know what I mean. Like the linkage
Sure.
between us kind of creates a different element, in addition to the three of I and I. But we each have our own sound. That's why I
But
say
that's the one sound. But that's the one sound. Excuse me, not to cut there, but that's the one sound Makedah speaking of. Is the three sounds meshed in a one. And to her as a listener and the singer and the artist, it sounds like a sound. So
I guess
I hear that.
It's a
I've
wide
heard that.
range.
Though. I've heard that.
Very
People say
wide
that
range.
for real. I think so too, but
From,
people say that. So it's not as wide as we think. I don't think. We
I
think
guess
it's
so.
wider. I think than people perceive it. I think.
Mm.
True,
The
true.
nuances that I and I take as like big, like gaping differences are not really as extreme to the average listener. No, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes from the same source sessions, so that's what unifies it. We link together, and we usually record the rhythm, the drum and the bass and the keys and the basic stuff together in the same room. So
in
that
a very
gives it,
in a very traditional manner too, like the ancient roots reggae traditions, like very rooted in that process, and then it kind of can branch out from there, but that's always the root. Is Tippy is a champion rhythm bubbler, and then where like the foundation gets built before it starts going in any other directions, really overdub wise,
It's the
texture wise.
moment. We usually enter those sessions tabula rasa. We just go in and deal with
See
it.
it there?
Okay, so continue on. So wait, we were really getting into the juicy part right there. And so my question is, in talking about the writing process, this is something that I've been meditating on for many years and really, really getting deep into it of late. It's always, for me, it's like a mystical experience when I receive an inspiration to write. it's like, I feel like it's not of myself. You know what I'm saying? It's not just me sitting down and thinking of it. You know, it's an inspiration that comes to me. You know, and a lot of times it's the music that creates that inspiration for me to write the lyrics. So I wondered about that because, you know, when we talk about Torah or Tanakh or ancient Shemitic culture, music is something that takes place in the context of worship. You know, worship, yeah, it's divine manifestation, is a gift. So I wanted to know how you all connect with that, you know, the divine part of it, the spirituality and the music. You know, how do you experience that in your writing?
Moon?
Well, it is there. It's there. It's like that power, that moment. It's naturally there. That is who we are. That is what we're doing. It's unquestionable. Everything you said, we don't ponder it. We are it.
Yeah.
We are bringing that.
Yeah.
We are it,
We are the
especially
vessel.
when we're empty. Like you said, tabula rasa, right? Like we come to the studio with nothing to receive all of that that's already there, you know?
And then music itself is Ivine. It's like it's like the highest spiritual form because it's not even tangible really unless it's recorded, which is a new phenomenon. These things are brand new. Like it's not it's like just out there. It's spiritual. So anyhow you connect to that, it's spiritual. That's a spiritual realm you're in, and then it becomes tangible once it's recorded.
Or once those people who are around and gathered in that moment, if it's in the studio, or in the room, or in the circle of ones that are experiencing, exchanging that moment with you.
It's
or even if
spiritual.
alone. Spiritual.
Yeah.
It's spiritual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Can you talk about the writing of this song? This is discipline rhythm, right?
Whoa.
It goes back a long way, right?
Yeah.
When did you wrote this around 2005? You said.
Yeah.
You wrote the original rhythm.
Yeah.
No,
together.
It would be all of it collaborative. It's everything.
This was collaborative.
Yeah. This is a
speak
section
about the
where
process. Yeah.
we in the moment we're writing 6 rhythms maybe that day, 7 rhythms that day.
Probably.
You know.
Wow.
One we get the vibe, we get the idea, and it's one take. A couple takes, and then we get it.
It's usually we usually start with a drum pattern and a tempo first. That's the very first thing. Once we maybe we work out a progression first sometimes, but a lot of times it's drum pattern most of the time, and then progression, and then bass line usually after that, and then we record. Once that's usually it. Usually don't start with a bass line.
Wow.
You usually start with a drum. Usually it's a drum pattern and a tempo, and that's kind of the template, and then we kind of catch a vibe off of that. Collaboratively, it's all collaborative. Like no one's really telling anyone what to do, but then ideas are flowing, and sometimes ideas are being rejected. Sometimes too. Sometimes. It happens.
Yeah.
Not always, but it happens.
Massage an idea, and then it becomes.
Right.
So this is one of them, one of many like that. Many.
Wow.
Coming out of this, off of the same vibration.
So this song, I Am Shem, was a song that I actually received years before I heard your music. right? So it happened a little
You need to do the
differently.
Irates, like the inspiration did come out.
To
I
write
got
it, to write
I
it,
wrote it, I wrote a melody, everything. And the idea came from a brethren that I met here I met here in Israel, but he was from Trinidad. He was here working for the UN. And his name was Leo, right? And he was working with a band called Roots Africa here in Israel. And so we met through a mutual friend. He was like, I want you to start working with my band. We don't have a lead singer. And then he gave me the idea for this song. So the idea came from him, I Am Shem. But his lyrics, the lyrics he had, the rest of the verses, I couldn't sing them. So I prayed about it and I received divine inspiration on the melody and everything. It was like, for me, this was one of the most prophetic songs that I've written because it was like the Most High just took control of my mouth and began to speak and sing these words. So it's a very prophetic song, praise Yah. And so after I came back to the States and started working with, forming my band and everything, I was looking for producers to work with who could write music for this song because I just didn't know where to begin. Because I write from inspiration, so if the music doesn't move me, I can't sing it and I can't, it doesn't, I can't work with it. So as the Father would have it, the brethren that introduced us, I was working with Brother Corin, Mr. Haskell, at the same school. I was teaching this was my first year of teaching in public school.
Okay.
We were working across the hall from each other.
Brookfield?
At Brookfield Elementary.
Oh. Yeah, you never know that, Moon. Yeah, man.
Oh.
I was teaching, yes.
Brookfield.
Yes.
It's legendary school.
Exactly. Well, so anyway, I had no idea he was a producer or he was on with a production company with reggae music, nothing. We were just, cordial, and it was like 6 months into the year and a mutual teaching friend was like, oh, you sing reggae music? Let me introduce you to Corin. We were sitting down at an office party. He's a producer, and so I was like, really? So that's how it started. And he was like, oh yeah, let me hook you up with the brethren, da-da-da-da-da. And one thing led to another.
See there?
So
Corin, big up Corin.
Yes.
Corin.
Yes, big up Corin. He's amazing. He's an amazing servant of the people and of the youth. And may God bless him. And just, the Father has a way of moving in mysterious ways, and just bringing us into the presence of other people when it's time for us to connect, And so when I heard your music, it was just, amazing. I was drawn to so many of the tracks. And this one just seemed to fit like a hand in a glove with I Am Shem. The melody, the verses, everything. So it was unusual, So I don't know how many times you meet singers that like have an idea already, or they have a song already, and then it's like they're looking for a rhythm that you already have made. You know what I'm saying?
It happens all the time.
Everything, yeah, and sometimes not. It happens in every way.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it would, for me, it would be a wonderful experience and one of my dreams to actually be able to come there with you and be a part of the creative process, like in the studio.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the vibes. That's the arts.
So let's hear about some of your upcoming tracks. What are your projects that you're working on now?
Tippy eye. That's it.
I'm working on a new Akibaka album. It's called Polarities. It's the last one that he and I worked on together before he transitioned.
Wow,
Uh,
wow.
13 tracks. Should be out sometime early this year. And a
Nice,
few other projects in the works, but that's the next release for Ag Grade
nice,
Records. All
nice.
Zion Ag Kings Productions.
Can we hear a sneak a peek at that?
Well, yeah, there's two singles that we released already. One is called Everything Blessed, featuring Tikin Jaffa Koli from Ivory Coast and Mali. And the second single is Black Carbon, featuring Chronix.
Two songs up there at the same time. No, man. A different tune now, man. Something happened. We're listening to
I was
something
pretty
else.
smooth though. Can't front.
That's a bad tune. How was that?
Hold on. Here is
That's
the
a
song.
different.
Here is the song.
Nice.
What song is that?
Which
That
one?
That was
Yeah.
off of Dubbin Zion.
Yeah.
That's what. The vibe.
My son, your son, my
More.
son.
See what?
This is
More.
our place under the sun.
I like me didn't
The
talk
whole
about
thing
it.
a designated solar system. There's a little humor in the equation. My son, your son, my son. This is our place under the sun. What is your root of a standing up?
So let's talk about Akibeki just a little bit. You know, may God bless his soul and his memory.
Yes.
He spoke a lot to me. He was into the mystical, like the Melchizedek order, and you can hear in his words just a lot of mysteries that he spoke. So, would you share a little bit about to work together and
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, this is Vaughn's mission and life purpose is to reveal knowledge and information that had been hidden before. And, you know, when he took the name Akibeka, it's a name from the book of Enoch, and it's the name of an oath. And it's an oath that the Archangel Michael was told to make mention to mankind and to reveal the truths that created heaven and earth and that had been hidden. So it's the perfect name for Vaughn because his songwriting involved uncovering things that were hidden in plain sight often, and also more esoteric, deep knowledge, book-based knowledge. I mean, Vaughn, he was a master of information and knowledge. So, you know, I think that's what his whole mission was about. It's beyond music.
yeah. Well, give thanks for the ability to continue the legacy through the music that you all have made together, right? That will live on forever. Yes, we are looking forward to the new project. Tell us the name again of the album.
Polarities.
Polarities.
Yes,
Wow. Thanks. I was hoping Sister Makedah Dread would be on with us tonight because She was very close to Akibeka also, and worked with him, brought him to San Diego many times, and so I know she will miss the opportunity to reason with you, brethren. And we talked about Torah and Tanakh and ancient Shemitic culture. Music was in the context of the priesthood, right? So the priests were the musicians, they were the singers, not just Levitical, but you had the Order of Melchizedek priesthood. So when you have King David, he was a king of Judah, right? But he said, I am after the Order of Melchizedek. So the Order of Melchizedek was that spiritual priesthood that encompassed even the Levitical priesthood. And so, and men and women could be both priests within that priesthood. It was not gender connected and not necessarily related to your nationality either. But in the context of priesthood, do you all see your mission in that context?
As a priestly mission, you mean?
Yes, yes.
I think that that's very individual, even though I and I are a collective. So I mean, I personally would speak for myself. In the context of the music, I personally would say that I gravitate towards artists who glorify Haile Selassie the First. That is my personal mission, to glorify him through my music. I don't know if that would be considered priestly or Leviticus or of the Melchizedek order. I wouldn't claim so. But simply just to glorify Haile Selassie first, who to I is the Almighty. So that's my personal mission. So I gravitate towards artists who, in their lyrics, would glorify him. So that was my draw to Akibeka. Speaking of Akibeka, this is glory of the King. So far, yeah.
And what about you, Tippy, Moon? Are you? So I'm not a Rasta. I am a Judite woman. I do respect Haile Selassie and as one of my ancestors. That he was a servant of Hamashiach, who is considered the high priest of the Order of Melchizedek. And so he uplifted the mission of peace and righteousness that the Order of Melchizedek represents. Right? It's about peace and it's about righteousness, and that is the Torah.
Straight.
Yeah, so the power that was within the music. So a lot of our people, when they think of praise and worship, they think of it in the context of a church service, right?
True.
But when you look at, when you go into the ancient writings, the scripture, music was a type of invocation of the divine presence. And so before they went into battle, the priests had to be at the front of that mission. So it was a source of power, and they were undefeatable. As long as they were under the covenant, there was no nation that could defeat them when they were in tune with Yah. And so, that was a great privilege and an honor to be able to bring that type of power into the midst of the nation. So the priests were they were prophets. They were through the music. They were prophets. They were healers through the music, and they were warriors as well. So.
And I feel the sentiments. You know what I mean? And I feel the
fully.
We feel the warrior spirit. We use music to smite the wicked. We do these things spiritually. And it's a spiritual war that is going on. And we humble ourselves to be a part of what we are fighting for, you understand? So, but music that has a message, that has legs to bring healing energy and spiritual energy to the people is really what I personally gravitate to. I know for a fact that's what Jadi gravitate to. I know that's what So that also is what creates the nucleus of our different parts.
Straight.
So let's listen to another track and let's end it up. We're going to talk about the current climate, in the United States right now, and what is the role of reggae music in bringing peace and healing and unity. How do you see that as your mission? So let's listen to some more music and then talk about that.
Okay. So,
selector.
What happened? We have some of the eye music. Should play.
Selector Moon forward in digital ancient dog. Quick. Don't hitch, don't stick. Forward in with the next selection.
All right, we're done. All right.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to see if I can get back on the live stream and see what happens.
All right.
What is this?
Bean Pond on the drum. With the eye.
What is this song?
Instrumental. On the keys. On the stage. All this one top knot.
Where is this from? What is this, sir? Never heard this before.
This goes way back.
What is this, man? Who's playing on this, sir?
Dean Conley, sir. Session of Deans.
That's me playing bass?
Session with
I'm playing bass on that?
It's the system.
Doubleologist. I agree, doubleologist.
Yeah, work it.
Frankenstein food made in a tube at your local grocery market. Who could have a pick for his mama ain't in sick or a virus? From the chickens to the cows in the stable, growth hormones from the farm to the table. Now mankind sick with cancer and a cure, no them not able, no. Is the most high word.
So I just want to tell the massive, if you haven't checked out his Process album, that's one of the tracks that Zion Kings and I collaborated on. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out their latest project. Is there a website that people can go to?
Yeah, I mean, what? I guess you could go to igraderecords.com. You can go to lkreggae.com. You can go to zhpreggae.com, Zion High Production.
Okay.
All music there. And if you just, even on your platform, search for Zion Kings, you'll find some of I music.
Yeah. So let's talk about peace. You know, roots reggae, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, the Wailers, you know, back in the 60s and the 70s, their mission was to partially under Haile Selassie's teachings was to bring racial harmony, right? That was a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, reggae music, roots reggae music, that's one of the principles, the foundational principles of roots reggae is to bring racial harmony and understanding, right? Mm-hmm. Which is consistent with, as we talked about, you know, that is the mission of the Order of Melchizedek, to bring peace, justice, righteousness, you know, the Most High, El Elyon at the head, you know. So what do you all see right now at this juncture as we are seeing some of the same chaos, you know, that was happening back in the 60s, the 50s even, you know, with the civil rights movement? Where do we go from here? Do you think roots music, roots reggae music has a role in bringing healing, and how does that relate to your role? How do you see your role in helping to heal the people?
Yeah, well, I think reggae music definitely has a primary role in healing oneself, at least for me personally. You know, reggae music changed the way I look at the world, exposed me to the teachings of His Majesty, Haile Selassie, exposed me to a lot of other foundational truths and ways to explore myself. And with the topics within this, you know, wide genre of reggae, the topics deal with reality, deal with current situations, deal with mankind, deal with spirituality, deal with how to eat, how to live, how to treat people. And there's really no other genre of music where the topics of songs that are really popular or at the top of the music can hit that wide range. You know, it's not, we're not just singing love songs. We're not just singing about injustice. We're not just singing about, it's all of the above. Right, so I think reggae music is the king's music, is the superior music to all music forms, in my biased opinion, because the spiritual element of internal healing and healing with others is very much part of it. And it's also part of what makes it unique, you know, because within other genres, you don't really too much hear these topics being explored, you know, whether they're spiritual, biblical, or, you know, whatever the you know, it's just not cool. But within reggae, all of it's cool. And the cool factor is important.
And it's still pop. and it's still popular music.
Yeah.
Still popular, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, it's definitely got to help heal the world right now. You know, music will always be a part of healing, you know, it will always, from now till the end of time, there's never no end. But from now, as it was, it will be. Music will be a part of people's healing. So whether reggae music can specifically help heal some things, I think if people would take heed to some of these teachings of Haile Selassie that you alluded to on racial justice, we would heal a lot of the world.
That's the beginning. Yeah. It's the beginning.
Listening to these artists, listen to the youth, listen to what these youths are saying and singing on the rhythm. They telling you something. Just telling you something. You know what I mean? Akebeke telling you something. Queen Makedah telling you something. You see?
Yeah.
With the inspiration.
Give thanks. Give thanks. Good.
Blessed.
Love. Been a fan for a long time. Been following. I mean, I've listened to Toussaint and Iora, all sorts of stuff from way back in the book. So big fan. When did you guys? I say there's this point in time where I started hearing you had a definitive sound that I think no matter what you put out, you can tell it's you guys. When and what do you think led up to being able to like solidify that?
I think you could tell us better if they are.
I think that happened around when we started linking in studios in Florida to record together, and we would record through top, you know, SSL or Neve boards with the best mics, analog sound, and we started to get a very high fidelity, hi-fi sound out of the drum and the bass. And that helped us, you know, develop this broader sound that has influences of all three of us. You know, I have a kind of a deep roots background, but also mixed with a lot of hip hop influences that I got from working with Vaughn from the year 2000. And, you know, Moon has his own set of influences that range from singer-songwriter to funk to soul to roots. And, you know, Jadi himself comes from a musical background as a youth playing in bands with all kind of music. So none of us are real throwback reggae musicians where we want to recapture 1970, whatever. We want to live in the now, but still build on the foundations of this ancient tradition, you know, that even predates reggae. You know what I mean? This is deep into, you know, American soul and Jamaican mento, and like the roots of the sound of reggae, of course, predate reggae. So, you know, we just tap into this and try to also live in the moment. You know, it's kind of like what Moon calls his productions digital ancient. We're in the digital age, but we still have an agency.
It's ancient, yeah, man. Ancient's the same way.
Yeah.
Hard to get that translated properly. I'm a musician as well, and I started off in the analog world playing, you know, like organs and everything and bass and everything. But now I'm moving to the digital world. And I'm going to Berkeley online to further my skills as well. And it's insane trying to capture that sound and truly translate it digitally. And that's, I think, one of the most valuable characteristics, like you're talking about the high quality mics and everything. Like when you listen to the drums, you are in there. The way they're cued and like it's a professionalism that I think a lot of original reggae comes from, like gritty recordings, you know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful for that. But I think you guys took that ancient essence that you're talking about and really brought it to that clean now sound and made it definitive like that, you know?
Give thanks, Donovan. Yeah, man. That's right.
You know, I'm glad you asked that question, and your answer when you shared that, Tippy, it made me think about Suspicious and a lot of the things that I like about the tracks I was drawn to. It's like they really, you know, I came from, even though reggae was a part of my growing up, R&B was my foundation. And so,
Right
Yeah,
away.
yeah. So I feel like, as well as, gospel and jazz, but I feel like songs like Suspicious, really, really tap into that R&B vibe, so yeah, I can see what you said earlier, like you have at least 3 different sounds within your sound, within your
Right.
original.
Cool, no selector.
Big up, Selector.
Hey.
So who played guitar on this, Makedah? Because you added this guitar yourself.
Yes, this is my brethren, David Summer, producer out of Oakland.
Nice work.
Yeah. Flamenco, he's a brother, from the hood, but flamenco is one of the things that he learned, and it was just so
No, he's very skilled.
We gotta link him up.
Yeah.
Young black man looked suspicious. Woman perusing black
We want to
hoodie
thank you,
on.
brethren, for coming
Get my
through,
gun and
and
investigate. What's this
I'll wait for you to
candle
turn it
around
down.
us so late?
Yeah, turn it down,
Fucking
bro.
games we don't tolerate.
Love the word
Let
son.
another get away. Oh,
Yeah.
how you was.
Dedication
You
to
were
Trayvon Martin.
suspicious.
Yeah, man.
So the Peace Process album in general, if you listen to the whole album, it's about like anti-violence. It's about peace, laying down your guns, so.
Clean Hands is my joint though. That one.
Oh, give thanks. Can you play that? That's my favorite one too.
Is it? That one.
Other than the tracks we wrote together.
Yeah, odd. Yeah, burn them on this one, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
To you belong the earth and all her fullness. He made the world and all inhabitants. Who can ascend to his holy mountain? He who has clean hands and a pure heart.
First of all, we couldn't do this work without you all, the musicians, the producers, I just want to express my thanks and appreciation for the opportunity to work with your anointed music, and may Yah continue to bless you to do the work, you and your families, as you go forward in this season. Amen. We look forward to hopefully more works in the future by the grace of El Shaddai. Yes.
Blessings to all the Israel message.
But give thanks for the blessing of your voice and your energy, said Steve. We give thanks for your life in this time and in this moment to have I and I. Give thanks to the Most High Jah.
Give thanks, Makedah. Give thanks for the vibe. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear anyone. I don't know what my sound is gone, but I give thanks for the vibes, give thanks for the sound, give thanks for all of your great works. I love your sound, and we're just honored to work with you and for you to give us this moment for even hold the vibe. Give enough time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You're
Thank
blessed.
you, everyone.
You're
Same way.
blessed. And I want to sending so much love to everybody. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your support. May God bless you. And we just end with the blessing keep you, shine his face upon you, keep you doing more, especially in this time.
He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who can ascend to his holy mountain? Mekika Pai Uva